everyone. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Carolyn Show. I am your host, Dr. Carolyn G. Anderson. We're coming to you live from the Windy City. Well, it wasn't quite windy today. It was more like 80, 90, 95 degrees, and fall in Chicago is quite a treat. So I'm really excited. It's beautiful sunshine, awesome weather. The sun has set and we are ready and have a great set for you tonight, a great lineup. So we're just super excited that you've been joining us week after week. And today is show number 6, and we have awesome, wonderful women who have been leading that's going to be sharing with you this evening. So as we always do, I want you to do the roll call. So please let me know what city, what state, what country you're from. Every week that we've had the show, we've had international viewers, international audience. And so we're so excited for Brazil. We thank you, Switzerland. The Caribbean is always in the house. Jamaica, how you doing? Bahamas. And we're just really happy that you keep joining us week after week, because the show is about transformation. It is about leadership. It's also about living your life fully every single day. What is the point if every day you get up, you're just, living, allowing life to live for you and you not living for your own life? And so you got to take the leadership role of your own self and your own destiny, because you are in charge of your destiny based on the choices that you make. And so you've made a right choice today. Have chosen to be a part of this awesome show, the Dr. Carolyn Show, and you are in for a treat. We are going to be speaking with guests all the way from one coast to the other coast, and they have a variety of different backgrounds, and that's what this show is about. It's showing diversity. It's showing how we can lead. We can take control of our own lives. We can map out our path if you focus and if you put your heart, your mind, and your soul and spirit all into it. So again, give a shout out, share out this video, let people know you're on. Just like you do week after week, you've been the most awesome, faithful, awesome sauce, I love that word, guest ever. And I'm just really elated, really happy. Can't wait till this is daytime all day long, Monday through Friday, syndicated. We're going to be having a great time just like we do right now. And so I want you to share out the show. Let me know where you are. Let me know where you're viewing us from. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and make a comment. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share in the lower left-hand corner. You just hit the share button and it will go all out. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being a part of what we are doing. And we are so excited. It's the last Monday, last show for September. We're wrapping up this season and we're going to be heading into season number 2, where we're going to be having some live audience and some clapping and sharing and some Zumba and, all the cool stuff that I like to do for entertainment, right? Zumba is my therapy. It's my down. I have to put my brain to work for all the organizations that I run all day. And so my Zumba on Friday mornings that I teach is my out. That's my therapy. So I'm excited again to have you. And I am delighted that you decided to spend your evening with us. Hopefully there's no Monday night football game. And if there is, you can DVR that and watch us live. All right. So thank you again for joining us. Please, if you're just joining us, put your city, your state, and your country from where you're watching us from, because we want to give a shout out. We do answer every question that you have, every props that you give us, every heart, everything that you do. We do answer this after the show and through the following week. All right. So thank you for doing that week after week. Thank you for being a supporter. You are the greatest. You are the best. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about women in leadership. We're going to be talking about how she leads. I'm writing a book called The 10 Laws of Leadership, and that book comes out on November 10th. And in that book, I talk about the different style of leadership, how he leads, how she leads, how they lead, how the generations lead, the X, Y, Z, and the baby boomers. I talked all about the different style, whether you're transformational, situational, transactional, or you're just a bureaucrat, or just a authoritarian leadership style. Excuse me. And so we talked about all those different genres, all the different ways in order to lead. And there are certain ways in which leaders should carry themselves and should present themselves, but being authentically who they are, never changing or transforming for anybody else but for themselves. But having a certain poise, having a certain way of and characteristics about leadership. I mean, today in today's society, there's so much disrespect that's happening in leadership, and it's just really not a good thing. And so we're going to be talking today to some great women, awesome women who have been in leadership probably since childhood, because like me, I was leading my brothers and sisters even though they were older since I was a child. There's also been a debate whether leader you were born a leader or you can learn to be a leadership. Regardless, what I want you to do today is listen to the stories, their expertise, and the suggestions that they will offer to you about how you can lead an organization or how you can rise to be the next great leader. And take some notes because everyone will give their own point and their own perspective. All right. So coming up, we have our first guest who hails all the way from Chicago, because that is where the corporate office of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is located. She is the international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, affectionately also known as AKA. And she is a beautiful, intelligent, wonderful woman, but most of all, she's an excellent leader, and she's been leading this organization for the last, I believe, 6 or 7 years, or 5 years, excuse me. And she leads women. And sometimes it's not, I prefer personally to lead men because they are, easier. They don't have all the emotional stuff. However, she leads an organization full of awesome women, which I happen to belong to that organization. In fact, this month I'm celebrating, 2004. So what is that? 4 from 8, 14 years. This month I'm celebrating 14 years of being an AKA, and she was the regional director at the time. That actually was the one during our when I was welcome into the organization. She was the one that oversaw that. So she's been leading for quite some time. So for those of you that can put your hands together, those of you that can't, I want you to welcome Dr. Dorothy Buckhanan Wilson to the show. Welcome, Dr. Dorothy.
Good. Hello, Dr. Carolyn, my sorority sister, as well as a phenomenal host of the Dr. Carolyn Show in Chicago. It's a pleasure to be here with you and all of your listeners and viewers worldwide.
Awesome. We're excited to have you finally. My viewers know they've been asking, where is Dr. Wilson? Where is President Wilson? I said, she's coming. I promise you she's coming. And so they started not to believe me. So, hey, there you go. She's finally here. We're really excited. Running an organization with over, 300,000 women is not an easy task. I'm sure you're pulled in every direction. So we do appreciate your time that you're here spending with us and offering your nuggets of leadership. You are totally appreciated, and the audience and the viewers will definitely be talking about that tonight. So we want to talk about how you lead. You have your own unique leadership style. You have taken the organization to a whole nother level. You have ascended it, in essence, which is also one of our things that we do within our organization. And you've just taken something that was birthed over 100 years ago, and you have to carry on that legacy. What is it like, first, leading women, and second, an organization that is not just national, it is international. So at any given day, you can be dealing with various different laws and cultures and characteristics of people. So share with us a little about you and what it's like to lead an organization such as Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, and certainly. I've been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority for over 39 years and came into the organization as a college student, very much like yourself, and have been continuously active. But in addition to my Alpha Kappa Alpha service, I worked as a corporate executive and a nonprofit executive for most of my time that I've been in the sorority. So I've been an executive for about 35 years across various organizations. And so I've had the experience of leading a lot of men as well as a lot of women in very diverse situations. And certainly I think that as it relates to leadership, I can honestly say that leading Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority has been one of the highlights of my life. I've been international president now for 3 years. And as you know, prior to that, I served a 4-year stint as the vice president. And so the organization prepares you well to lead. But a part of what happened when I came into office is that I wanted us to be in a situation where we saw a lot of transformational leadership. When you have an organization over 100 years old, we are 109 years old, approaching 110, you have to look at new and different ways of doing things, different ways to engage and energize your membership base, as well as just programs of service that the members want to implement. one of the things that happens with African American sororities is that when we join for a lifetime. We come in as college students, but then we're in the organization for as long as our life shall last. And our mission is service. And so part of what we're doing here is providing programs of service in over 1,000 chapters worldwide. And so it has been an interesting leadership journey. I can honestly say that 99% of the time, it is certainly very enjoyable and it's a challenge, but it's a very productive and a pleasurable challenge. But certainly there's that 1% of the time when, like all other leaders out there, you have to draw from your inner strength to make sure that you're leading the organization in the right direction. So I would say for us, our focus for the last 3 years, and has been launching new dimensions of service. So we came into this period under my leadership of knowing that we wanted to transform the organization and make sure that we are putting into place systems as well as programs that will endure and stand the test of time.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Marvelous. And we have seen the transformation that has taken place in the organization. In fact, a lot of those who were what we call inactive in that are coming back like drones. They're coming back home because, we are standing for justice, no matter, all the shootings, all the civil things that has happened, injustices. I know the organization has stand for that. So again, any given day, you could be dealing with something legally in the sorority from that aspect. And then there is a shooting and we have to react because we're a service organization, I know you have to have all kind of brains on at the same time. So I knew you were a corporate executive for quite some time in the arena where typically it is a male dominant field to rise to leadership. I know for one, I capped out of the ceiling of manager, and then they barely gave me director, assistant director, but then I eventually switched locations and was able to move up into the organization. But I would train my bosses, and most of them were males. So they would come in after me and I would end up training them. And so now that you are leading an organization that's mostly female, is there any comparison, contrast, and anything you can share with the audience for those who may desire to go into leadership and, their path may be a little ceiling, based on the gender that they are? Anything you can share, any nuggets that you can give the viewing audience?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Dr. Carolyn. What I would say and suggest is that certainly I think that leadership skills are transferable, whether you're in for-profit or not for profit. That's number one. And if you can lead men effectively, certainly you can lead women. But I think a part of leading inside a dynamic organization that's over a century years old, the special challenges that come with that is that in effect, you are leading women who are very passionate about the purpose and the mission of the organization. And so with that being the case, you have to be a lot more engaged. That's number one. I would say certainly you have to be more important, you have to be authentic in terms of they have to believe that you are about what the organization stands for and that you truly have the mission at its core. And so I think from the standpoint of just leading Alpha Kappa Alpha and where we're going, and more importantly, our accomplishments, because if you look at what we're doing, and it's well documented, not only with our programs of service, but in terms of just following us on social media, everything we put out there in terms of our impact in the community. And so a part of just leading that organization and putting into place those skill sets that women engage with, when you're leading women, you want to be, certainly I think empathetic. You want to show that you're concerned about not only the work you're doing, but also the people who are doing it. But at the same time, as I said, you still have to be about impact and making sure that what you're doing is meaningful and that it makes a difference. Because it doesn't matter what your goals are if you don't take the members along with you. Certainly your impact is not going to be as much as what we've seen certainly over the last 3.5 years. And I think a part of that has been just tapping into the wellspring of the women that are there, getting their feedback, because a part of what I've had to do as a leader is literally engage with them to find out what is it you wish to help the organization do, but more importantly, what do you think we need to be doing over the next 4 years? And so tapping into that and then getting the feedback and then acting on that feedback has been, and basically that interaction, it's been really good for not only this leadership team, but also for the organization.
Absolutely. And the position in the role, I believe, is a 4-year term, correct? So you are.
It's a 4-year term. So yeah, so next year in July, we will be installing a new president.
Okay. All right. Very good. And so it's kind of like the presidency in essence. So it's almost a year. Yeah, it's a year behind the election that we have in the United States.
Exactly.
And so one of the things that, Rob, if you can show the picture where we're all in red, it's a picture of all red. It looks pink, but it's red. So one of the one of the things that Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority does is we go red for Heart Awareness Month for a variety of different women's issues, and we will go wear a different color. We will support them. We have gone purple for domestic violence, and of course we do pink in the October for the breast cancer awareness. And so because we know that women, we got to vote later, we got access to education later, because we've had so many things later, now there's a big push for us to realize that we have a purpose, that there is a reason for us. In one of my studies, I study the mind and the brain. Is men's brain actually only can think in one compartment at a time. So it's either left or right. Versus women, we left and right, front and back. That's why we're quicker, we're faster. And so that has actually, it's so funny when you look on the live MRI, you see the signals. We don't shut off even in our sleep. But men can put something in a box and they're just handling that. But being a woman as a female leader, again, because of the organization you run, there are so many compartments and so many boxes that you can be working with at any given time. So a typical day for you looks like what? What is a typical day for a woman of your stature looks like when you go in? Do you know what you're going to be doing, or things can just come at you?
I think because right now I'm actually doing this full time. This is my job, at least until I leave this particular office. The day starts early. My day starts at 5 a.m. Because, our members live in different time zones. We have international members. And so the phone never really gets shut off. So that's number one. So we get up early. I'm on the phone a lot, but more importantly, we've had just a number of major projects we've been working on. As you may be aware, we just completed a major renovation of our corporate headquarters in Chicago, a $6.5 million project. And so I've been one of the project managers on that, in addition to being president of Alpha Kappa Alpha, international president. So a lot of work in the last year has been around the construction project. We're managing at any given time 2 to 3 conferences. But more importantly, I think just dealing with the staff. We have a full staff of 31 and 32 individuals in Chicago. So a lot of what I've been doing, what I do day in and day out, I go into the corporate office a couple of times a week, but most of my work is done remotely. From wherever I am at that time. I'm on the road probably 85% of the time. So on any given week, 5 or 6 days of the week, we're on the road, either going to visit chapters, taking care of planning for conferences, or taking care of the business of the organization. We're a $40 million enterprise. And so there's a lot of business that has to be done with other businesses out there that do what we do, as well as a lot of our partner agencies. So my typical day basically is very busy. You're dealing with corporate types. You're dealing with members of the sorority. You're dealing with, for the last year, building contractors, general contractors, lawyers, you name it. When you're running a business, everyone comes into play. So meetings from sun up to sundown and conference calls at night. That's what my day looks like. Early morning calls, business during the course of the day, travel, followed by a lot of meetings before the night ends, right around 11 o'clock at night. So it's a lot of work, intensive work, and engaging with the members. When you're out and about, they stop you. You can't rush off. You have to stop and have those conversations. So it's a very busy job, very fulfilling. But at the same time, I'm a very meaningful position because, again, the organization is growing and it's a very large and dynamic enterprise.
Absolutely. Sure is. And you're doing an amazing job, phenomenal. Like I said, the engagement was the piece that really has said something, that it has shown how the great leader that you are, because, even me, it was just kind of, it's just kind of blah, because there's a lot of women that are just very energetic and they want to do things. So now we are like, okay, slow it down. We're doing so much, but it's really a good thing. You're never bored, always having something to do. And the point of it is also just, it's service. And so being a great leader is learning how to serve first. And that's what this organization has done. And you've reinstilled that into us by just constantly reminding us of who we are and who we are, not just as AKA members, but as women, that we can actually get the job done. So we do appreciate you significantly for the tremendous work that you have not just done in the organization, but throughout the world, because we have made and have changed and have allowed government officials to listen to us. Because, when you come together in numbers and you work together as one, numbers do create influence. And so we've happened to use the power of the organization in order to shift the nation. And that's what we will continue to do. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. If you just hang on a few, I'm going to also have another guest, but I have a few more questions for you, Dr. Wilson, President Wilson. So thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your awesomeness and in the beautiful pearls. I put on my pearls. I'm like, the president is coming. I better get my pearls together. No, I wear them every day. That's an inside joke. Huh?
Thank you for having me on. This is great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So you have just heard from the international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, an organization that is 109 years old and going strong. We will continue throughout our destiny. We'll pass on the legacy and we'll continue to build and to have our children. I have 2 daughters and they are already preparing and prepping and getting ready to be a part of the organization in order to serve, because that's what leadership is about. It's about servitude and being a servant leader and a transformational leader. So we thank her so much for, again, you heard her day starts from 5 a.m. to pretty much 11 p.m. So very short hours of sleep, but she's able to function. And so we appreciate this time that she's given us. It shall not be taken for granted. And so for those of you that are just joining us, you are on the Dr. Carolyn Show. Please let me know what city, state, country you're from, and you can ask questions. We will be answering those at the end of the show and thereafter. And we just spoke again with the international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Dr. Dorothy Buckhanan Wilson. Hails all the way from Chicago, where the show is broadcast, and that's where the corporate office of the organization is. So I have a book that's coming out. It's called The 10 Laws of Leadership. And in there, I talk about how leadership actually begins at home. That you are a leader if you can lead your home. Can you lead your children? Can you lead yourself? Can you lead your time? Can you get up out of the bed and go and do the work? Like President Wilson just spoke about, getting up early. Sometimes you have to exercise. You got to take care of that body, that mind, and the spirit. And so we have our next guest who's coming up, who deals a lot with leadership and has an organization that helps to bring awareness that starts from the home. My husband is also writing a book that focuses on the fatherless father. He did not know his father growing up, and we believe that a lot of the problems in today's society is because of the fatherlessness. In quite a few homes, women are left to be the mom and the dad. And so joining me now all the way from Miami, Florida, where she has actually survived the Hurricane Irma. I think that was it, or Maria. What was the name of it? Irma. Maria is in Puerto Rico and on that side, and she hails all the way from Miami, Florida. She is Dr. Hacqueline Del Rosario. Did I say that right with my little tongue, with my roll? Awesome. Welcome. And thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm well. We have electricity, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Did you lose power?
We did, but phone, everything, internet, it was quite an ordeal, but I'm grateful.
Yes, and we're grateful that you're able to join us. So you are the founder and president of an organization called ReCapturing the Vision, and it is an organization that focuses on helping the youth to know that they are someone, they have a purpose, and that they actually can be the change agent, the transformer. And we have a quick video that we're just going to show the audience just to give you a highlight of the organization. So if you can roll that, Rob, that would be sweet. Awesome.
No nation, no people can recreate something that they've never seen. And that's what Recapturing the Vision is. We're the people, we're the guidance, we're the support to help you to come into your future.
With millions of dollars invested in over 100 schools over the past 19 years, Recapturing the Vision has transformed the lives of thousands of youth all across the United States, receiving recognition from the U.S. Congress, Girl Scouts of America, former Governor Jeb Bush, and countless other schools, organizations, and leaders. Recapturing the Vision's life mantra derives from the idea that the foundation of any society starts in the individual homes of families. Children are directly affected by the type of surroundings they live in. A child's environment will inevitably influence how he will function in the future. But that's where Recapturing the Vision comes in. With our school programs, we give our students the opportunity to learn to love themselves.
How you channel your emotions and your anger and the way you go about doing things, it might be the wrong way.
Whatever it takes to be successful, I'm here shaping the future, and I think that's what it's all about.
How to always make yourself feel confident and respectful. I want to thank this program because it brought me a long way in manners and being responsible.
Thank you for keeping up with me, you feel me? Because I don't really got a lot of male role models in my life. And you know, this Man of Vision class, it just gave me the ability to be with some guys that I truly love.
Awesome, amazing video. It shows and highlights about recapturing the vision, and your organization is one that helps every child to have an opportunity to succeed. Tell us what that means, because success for everyone is different. People define success as having $1 million, of having a great husband or wife or whatever the case may be. So what is the organization, the vision of it, and what does it entail? So share with the viewing audience a little bit more.
Well, let's talk about success in terms of potential. For us, that varies from individual to individual, but ours is making sure that people fulfill the fullness of their God-given potential. And so that comes with a lot of guidance and direction and education. So we're awakening generations that have maybe forgotten that they are someone special, and maybe now they need to be regrafted back into this thing called hope and vision and looking forward to their future. So we partner with organizations from around the country that share that same vision of recapturing people and empowering them to be the best that they can be. So that work has taken us into school districts around the country. And now my television work is as an expert on the other end through a mandate to heal the family. So I'm America's marriage coach. And so those are the segments that you'll see when you'll catch me on the air.
Right. Right. Yep. You're known as the marriage coach, the marriage doctor. But
that's the end of my passion.
Right. Absolutely. So as I was saying right before I introduced you, we believe that leadership begins at home. And so you're taking the vision of the organization, and a lot of kids, for their out is actually school, because their homes are so traumatic that they dread going. They look forward to leaving in the morning. So from your leadership perspective and your whole emphasis around the family as a whole, because you deal with the marriages and you also help with the young people, how are you bringing that together, and how can a single mom that is watching us and has children, what can she do? What can you tell her in order to raise up that young man or that young woman to be our next leader?
Well, I think that first moms need to understand that it's really physically impossible to be the mother and the father. And so I think we need to look into our community to find those people that help to fill the gaps. Identity formation for a male, particularly males of color, is very, very traumatic in most cases, because not only are they grappling with trying to evolve into a young person, but they're also dealing with the issues of identity formation, of breast discrimination, racism, and things like that. So, or poverty even. So I want to tell moms that you have what you need, but never think that you're all sufficient. Reach out into your community to find the help that you need in raising a child. I think the village approach is more than just a phrase. It's a concept that I think that has caused us to be very successful in the past. I think that we need to, revisit the village concept.
Absolutely. And so your organization is in schools, and you're teaching them how to, so it's in schools, but to me, it's actually in homes, right? Because again, it's both. And because
there's different tiers of the program. So we have those that are home-based, where we go into the home to teach parents the ancillary skill sets that they need to do better at parenting and feel more competent in roles. And then we also have the school base, which is where we are one of the few programs in the country that is actually an accredited course in school districts around the country. And so what we do is we partner with other organizations such as AKAs or 100 Black Men or, Women of Tomorrow, who are wanting to create an impact as well. And so we go in, we provide all of the materials and that structure to enable them to come in and now provide the services.
Awesome. So my father taught me, my father doesn't have an education beyond 4th grade because he had to leave school to go take care of the farm and the pigs. I was born in Jamaica. I like to say that's where Jesus takes vacation. When people are annoying him, he goes there because it's the no problem country. And so but he always said to me, if you have an education, no one can take that from you. That if you understand who you are and you have your values and your principles and you're educated, then you can make a difference no matter what. No matter how society or systems will try to keep you down, you can always push through. So that's why I strove all the way to the top. I wanted to make sure I plateaued where I could. If I had the passion to be an MD, I guess I would, but I'm just not, it's not my thing. I need to be dressed up. I can't be in scrubs all day long. And so there's someone that's watching today because our women have been giving us awesome, great feedback. And even the males that are watching today, there's someone that has a passion for something. This started for you as a passion, but we do know that passion are just that if you don't have the right strategy and approach to make it be something that can be purposeful. It's okay to have passion, but if you turn that into anger, then that becomes a dysfunction for the work, for the system, for the world that we live in. So what advice can you give someone who's, you know what, I have a dream, I have a vision, I know that I was created to do this, I just don't have the resources, which is always something that people use to not step into their path. But I'm sure when you started, you didn't have the whole picture, you just knew you had to start and you had to do something and evolve as time went by. What advice can you give someone who says, I want to make an impact in my community, in my school, wherever, and what can they do to take the first step?
I think the first thing is to realize that one person can make a difference. And so whatever you have, the passion and your ability to exert yourself towards that passion, I think is enough to begin. Then number 2, never, never, never give up. Persistence is definitely a key that unlocks a lot of doors. Thirdly, I would say, and most importantly, be willing to put in the hard work. Right. And I think on the front end, your hard work might seem thankless at the beginning, but just like putting a seed into the ground, it doesn't appear to do very much at all. You just see the soil. But over time and a little bit of care, you begin to see something, produced from your effort. And so I would say, work hard.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you will achieve what you put your mind to and put your whole soul into it. I know that for a fact, just from, getting turned down so many times, but I never stopped. I just continued and persisted for what it is that I knew I was after. And so, go ahead.
I was just going to add one thing for me is a lot of times people are looking for that opportune time to start something. And I don't really know that there's really such a thing, but you have to just be willing. I had a full-time job, 2 children under the age of 3. And so for me, I heard your first guest talk about waking up at 5 o'clock. Well, I'd definitely be up at 5 and be maybe to bed around midnight because I had to go to my regular job. I had to take care of my children. But then in those other hours in between, no television, everything was regimented and scheduled. I exerted myself working towards founding ReCapturing the Vision, authoring those curricula, doing the research, developing the grants for funding and that sort of thing. So I was willing to work around the clock if that's what it took.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to do what is necessary and what it takes, right? I know right now we're working on getting the former Steve Harvey studio. And, I go in there with what I call my crocodile friends and, the guys and, I roll with them and, just it's a good thing when you put your mind and your heart and your soul towards it. Just like Dr. Wilson, as well as Dr. Del Rosario. I like to say the R. I have a lot of Spanish.
And you say it so well. Don't kill yourself. Just say Rosario.
I know, right?
Without the accent. Del Rosario.
Del Rosario. Okay, that don't sound right though. I like the rolling of the tongue towards it. And see, you can be a leader and have fun, and have fun leading, and that makes you authentically who you are. So, for more information about ReCapturing the Vision, you can find it at the drcarolynshow.com, where you'll find more information for those of you that are interested. I know there's educators that are watching us, and there are those that are running organizations as well. And you are looking for a curriculum that's already packed together. You don't have to redo the process. I don't like to recreate the wheel. I just add to the wheel, or I just get just use what's already there. So if you're looking to transform the lives of the young people, for families, then you can log on to our site again, and you'll find the information there where you can find Dr. Jackie. How's that? And so thank you so much for joining us. Our prayers are still with the Miami, Florida area, as well as Palm Beach and all along the coast for where got hit and damaged. And we do know that it's a rebuilding process. And again, it's going to take leadership to rebuild the cities that are affected by both hurricanes, actually 3 now. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for offering your words of wisdom and encouragement to the viewing audience. We truly appreciate you, and make it a great and awesome day. If you have questions for Dr. Jackie, you can comment on those. We will answer those as a show for you. If you have questions for President Wilson, you can also be commenting on those, and we will also answer. So for those of you that are just joining us, we're talking about how she leads, how women lead, how they lead an organization, how they lead a vision, how they lead and source things out, how they give birth to something. And so thank you so much for sharing the show week after week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part. We are definitely making a difference. There are so many comments that we get week by week from individuals and people who are saying, what you have shared today have changed my life. There is someone today who has a desire in order to change and transform and to do something. And whether it's President Wilson or Dr. Jackie, you shall be able to put your mind together today and do that. I want to give a shout out to Sherry, Angie. My camera is down. And oh my God, I'm reading what my producer is telling me, and he's telling me to give shout out. He says, Rob, what's up? Am I off? No, I'm good. I can keep going. Oh, I'm so glad. See, this is an authentic show. When I was on Steve Harvey's show many times, just so you guys know, it's edited. You go through so many different iterations, but this is live, so anything can happen. I'm in a studio, but we also have, electrical outings and power that can go off, so anything can go live and, go wrong, but it's always right. So my camera must be leaned. I must be shutting down a little bit. Oh, Sherry's. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Dr. Del Rosario. I love it, for joining us. You have an awesome evening, and we're going to go to Rob. You ready? Awesome. And so again, I have this book called The 10 Laws of Leadership, which comes out November 10th. You can pre-order your copy at CarolynGAnderson.com or the drcarolynshow.com. I'm going to be talking about how he leads, how she leads, how they lead. I also talk about the different leadership styles of the generations, the Generation X, the Ys, and the Z. Just so you guys know, everyone is calling the generation after Generation X and millennials. They're not all millennials. Millennials are there's a generation beyond that, that's 0 through 22, and they're called the Centennials. They're Gen Z. And so Generation Y, why were you born? No, I'm just kidding. Millennials, I love you. I'm just kidding. Everything is all millennial driven, but there is a generation that's after that, that's actually 21 years old. And so they're called the Centennials. And then the new generation that is more of the Eclipse generation is now the Enlightenment generation. So in the book, I talk about the 10 laws of leadership. There are 10 specific laws if you desire leader that you must follow. And one of them, and the first one, is you must understand and you must know your purpose. And so, all right, moving on to our next guest, we have the beautiful and the magnificent Sherry. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Sherry Fields, and she has worked in corporate America. She's also a soror, right? Yes, awesome. So you are an AKA. I don't think I can hear you, Sherry, so check your sound. Rob, I think you have her muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. That's like the
Very
commercial.
Good.
Awesome. Are you in Florida or California?
Neither. I'm actually in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
That's 305 area code. Awesome. That's what threw me off. So welcome and thank you for joining us from Connecticut. Is the weather awesome there? Like
it's
80s?
Absolutely beautiful. It was like
okay.
upper 80s today. Felt like summer, and
right.
We're loving it.
Awesome, awesome. So we spoke with President Wilson earlier today. She was the first one that was a guest on our show. And as you know, that's our international president. And you also belong to that organization. I promise you, there is nowhere I have gone that I do not meet someone that's an AKA. And because I always have my bracelet on, they just know that right away. And so I was at Chicago State University and found out that the president of Chicago State University is a soror. And I'm like, you need to become active, lady. And so she's probably watching me tonight when we had that conversation. But yeah, Dr. Rachel Lindsay is the interim president for the next 3 years of Chicago State University, and she's an AKA. So thank you for joining us. So you are a president of an organization that you help not just individuals, but you're helping mostly women, correct? And with their looks and making sure we stay intact. So tell us a little bit more about your organization and why you came into this and started it.
Sure. Well, the company is actually Shago Cosmetics, and the products, it's all about plant-based, natural products for your body and for your hair, because, most people don't realize your skin's your largest organ. And so everything that you put on your skin is absolutely absorbed into your body. And so I'm a health and wellness girl, and these products used to be distributed in Whole Foods. So they're a big deal. And we decided to change the distribution channel to direct selling. And I'm an absolute fan of the industry of direct selling. I consider myself to be a professional network marketer, and really stumbled upon it after being frustrated being in corporate America for so long and wanting to get to the top, but not having a way to get there, not having mentorship, working all the time and sacrificing a life. And I knew there had to be a better way. And that's what I found in this industry. And now with this company, we're really helping women in particular, but there are men that have partnered with us who are concerned about health and wellness and looking for a way to create additional income for their household. So it's become a powerful platform. The company is brand new in this industry. So we're just launching right now.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I feel you on the wealth and the health and the wellness, because
yes,
the skin is the largest organ and it's very absorbent. So anything you put on there goes into your bloodstream. And so I also knew that the aluminum-based deodorant was one of the factors that cause breast cancer, especially for women, because again, it's being absorbed, correct?
Right,
and
exactly.
So, yeah, you, like many, in fact, myself, left corporate America 5 years ago to launch my own business. I had plateaued to where I could actually go. There was nowhere else for me to go. And even though I was making good money, I still just didn't feel like I was living out my true authentic purpose. So left the organization. Actually, I started in direct marketing for a purse company called Bijou. And doing that because I just thrive and I love people. Plus I knew my sorority sisters would buy my bags. And so, yeah, that was very cool. And they did. We had a lot of parties. We like parties, right? With the girls just hanging out. And so you left corporate America, which was probably a foreshore check that you knew you would be getting paid every 2 weeks. And you stepped into a world where entrepreneurship is a tough job. I tell people all the time, women and men will come to me and say, hey, I want to be like you. I said, no, you don't. I run 7 companies at a given day and have employees all over the globe, in Brazil, all over the world. And at any given time, I have to be thinking 7 ways simultaneously. And I've started so many businesses and have, right now travel the world actually and speak. So it's not an easy thing because you're not for sure that you're going to get paid. And so you have to capitalize and maximize on the opportunities that come about, for you. So how have you dealt with that transition? Because I know there's people that's watching that said, hey, I want to leave corporate America and start something, but what can you offer them in that transitional period?
Absolutely. And I tell you, Dr. Carolyn, I actually don't recommend that you leave and jump right into being an entrepreneur. And I believe that's why the opportunity that we have at Shago Cosmetics and in the network marketing industry overall is so powerful, because you can start part-time and build up your income. And that's what happened to me in my last job. I was actually living and working in Miami, and I was vice president of marketing, traveling all over the world. But I was building this little business on the side. And finally, my part-time income exceeded my full-time income. And I said, what am I doing? I need to go chase my dream and do this full-time. And what happens is the particular company someone partners with, that probably is not your dream, but it is a vehicle to take you to your dream. See, a lot of us need money to be able to start a business, and banks aren't loaning money right now, and particularly for small businesses. So this can be your startup capital. This can be where you learn about business, because so many people really don't know how to run a business. So why not start making money while you're learning everything about being an entrepreneur? And really, your network marketing business, you're the CEO of it. So it's a great practice vehicle for you, where you have mentors in place to support you. And then you build your check and your income. And I believe residual income is one of the most powerful forms of income that can exist, because you sell something one time and people come back to buy it over and over again. And who doesn't love that kind of customer? So I think that is the perfect way to segue into building your own business and continuing to have that residual income come into your household.
Right. Absolutely. In the book, The 10 Laws of Leadership, I have a section in there about entrepreneurship truly is leadership. I see a lot of solo stand-in individuals, and you need a team. You need people that can help you. And you said a key word, and you said mentorship. And I know in our organization, that was something that was really pushed under this last administration, because I knew there were the generational gaps. So there were the more senior sisters, and then say us and those that are just getting out of college. And it was kind of divided in essence. And I knew now that we have mentors that are actually assigned to us. And that is a great thing, because you can't make it alone. Nothing that you do, you can't make it alone. So I know President Wilson is still on, and we want to thank you for that, for creating this sense of mentorship, because I was in the organization and I'm always leading for people to take over. So my philosophy of leadership is you train somebody to be you. It's a transfer of power. I'm not the type where, someone is trying to take my job. I remember when I was going for my master's degree, my boss at the time, he was like, are you trying to get my job? I said, no, I'm just trying to get a master's degree. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't want your job. And so mentorship is key in leadership. And I know Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, we're really good about doing that. In fact, we have a mentorship program that has been created, and I have to mentor someone as someone is mentoring me. And I know in network marketing, that's why it's so powerful. They do have a great mentorship program, and you have to be teachable also in order to be a great leader. And so you have to be able to receive from others that have gone before you, right? And so I really appreciate you diving into the wellness, especially being a woman of color, because access to care sometimes can be something that is not. One of the shows I have coming up in October is it's called I Survived. It's one set of the audience, and the guests are domestic violence survivors. So we'll be in purple, and the other side will be in pink for cancer survivors. And even they are saying they have no one to go to, no mentorship, and who, to talk to. And so, and a lot of them talked about, the things that they were using on their bodies, and for the cancer survivors, and how they had to stop it completely. It's just like when you're going to get a mammogram. I'm not old, y'all. I just had to get a mammogram because they saw something, or I think I felt something. So I'm really young. Hello, 28. So plus a few. So you can't wear deodorants. You couldn't wear any lotions or anything. So you're doing a great job. We have 3 different aspects. One guest today who is working in the school system and with the homes. We have our international president, President Wilson, who is running an organization that is not just humanitarian, but it's also civic, and we also tap into the justice system. This is the first time I've ever seen our organization so impactful in the things that we're doing. And we have this beautiful gem who just shared and talked about dominating that space and having residual income, and you're making money while you sleep, in essence. That's what you're doing. And it's time for you to rise up and take your wealth. Why not? Why should you not be wealthy? And wealthy is more than just money. It is about your health. It is about your finances, your relationships, and having great, awesome faith, because life is a lie without faith. So you need that in order to succeed in life. And so we have just had this awesome hour together, and we just want to thank you guys so much. Leadership is about fellowship and the ability to be able to not just looking forward to lead in someone, but also in looking to follow, because that's a great thing. I'm a follower all day. I'm always looking for those who have gone before me. I would look to Oprah right now for her advice and for what it is that I should be doing as I am approaching syndication and daytime talk shows. So we always need those mentors in our lives. And so President Wilson, I want to come back to you and close out. Thank you so much, Sherry Fields, for joining us. Your information is also on our website at drcarolynshow.com. And so you can go on there, and find more information about becoming a part of that awesome company. It's called Shago
Cosmetics.
I like the name. I like things that are different. And so President Wilson, you're going to be closing out the show. Thank you so much for hanging on and for giving us your hour of power. And so you've heard from a field of network marketing, which is very difficult. I've been in it, and you got to have the drive, you got to have the tenacity, but it's also very rewarding. And so we've heard from Sherry, who is a part of our sisterhood, and how she have dominated that space and recognized that she has a call in for women to be wealthy and to be well as in whole. And then we heard from Dr. Jackie, who goes into the school also, but I'm seeing a common theme here. It's all education. It's about learning, whether it's about your body, about the organization. There's a common theme amongst all you, the guests today, that we're sharing about education. So I know Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority was built on the backbone of education. In fact, it started on a college. So I want you to lead us and with the final remarks and final word for the audience. The audience that are watching today, they're trying to figure out, how do I lead? How do I step into a position of leadership when I look on the television? Leadership is it's in tweets, it's everywhere. It's just all over the place. Like there's no respect, that's the word, for leadership anymore. How can you leave the viewing audience to let them know that you can step into leadership? We can become authentic again. We can be the leaders that we were called to be, because we can't just have everybody following. We must have someone leading. What final words can you leave with the viewing audience to encourage them that if they have a desire to step into leadership, they should go for it?
Well, thank you again, Dr. Carolyn, for having me on. And certainly, I think talking about Alpha Kappa Alpha, an organization that was started by a phenomenal group of educators, and being in that whole space of learning and being about self-improvement, which are things that women, that's what we do best, and that's what we do a lot of. But I guess what I would say in terms of just future and aspiring leaders is to basically decide that's what you want to do, and then take steps to prepare yourself. Learn every step along the way, but more importantly, be willing to be mentored as well as to be a mentor. Because again, that's been key to many of us out there who are in the space now, in terms of we've been proteges of all kinds of people. And certainly I've created a lot of opportunities for young women who are coming up to be certainly women leaders, outstanding leaders as well. And so I guess my words of wisdom would be this evening is basically whatever space it is you decide to occupy, whether it's entrepreneurial or some other space, corporate, or just as we're doing in our volunteer organizations, own that, but more importantly, prepare yourself to lead. And then once you're in the space, be creative, be passionate, be impactful, and be there to do the right things for the right reasons.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for those words of wisdom and nuggets. All the leaders that shared and expressed today. Again, the common theme was education. So I would say if you are looking to go into any of those realms that we shared today, make sure you have a knowledge about what you're getting into and have an education. I always say you need a piece of paper. And so I have a entrepreneurship university. If you're looking to become an entrepreneur, you want to take those courses. There is a strategy, there's a format. Everything is a system. Things are controlled by systems, and it's just the way it is, and that's just the way it's going to always be. All the way back dated to Rome and BC times, there were systems that were set up in place, and you have to know how to navigate it. So no matter what you desire to be authentic. Make sure you live your life with integrity, and you lead with integrity. If you're going to do something, you do it, and you have to stand for something, or otherwise you stand for everything. And so you have to have a voice. You must have courage, and you must have the tenacity and the drive in order to know that there will be some rough days and some tough days. Right, Sherry? There will be some days where you don't feel like leading. There will be some days when you don't want to take those calls. There will be some days where you don't want to get up at 5 a.m. like President Wilson. I'm sure she would like to be, Tuesdays in Chicago is $5 Tuesday. You go to the movies at Marcus and you get free popcorn. I'm sure she would probably like to catch a movie or something, but she has to work, right? You would love to do that. Tomorrow is Tuesday, but you have to, get up because there is an organization to lead. And so leadership is sacrificial. It is a sacrifice. It is not something, they can't pay you as a woman to lead an organization, because we put so much into it, because we're natural birthers and we have a natural empathetic heart. We tend to give a little bit more when we're leading, because we can understand and see it from another person's perspective. So thank you again so much for joining us. For those awesome, wonderful viewers, please share the show out so we can get the ratings that we need. Thanks to our wonderful producer, Rob, who week after week is just tremendous. He makes me laugh, keeps me going. He's such a great director and producer. Thanks to our guest today from President Wilson, who hails from Chicago, the international president, of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You can find more information about the sorority at our website at drcarolinshow.com. And if you're a college student and you're about a senior, or you're looking to become a part of an illustrious organization, wink, wink. And so you gotta be a female though. Sorry, male, you can join a fraternity or something. Thank you from Sherry Fields, who is in Connecticut, where everywhere we are today is pretty hot, but there's nothing hotter than Miami, where Dr. Jackie Del Rosario, she was our guest, and she talked about leadership in the home as well as in the schools. So to all our guests today, thank you so much. And if I will leave you with one thing, I'll leave you with this. For those of you that are watching, leadership is a behavior. It is not a title. So no matter whether you're a president, executive VP, it is not a title. It is a behavior. People are watching you, and they're watching how you are and how you act. There are people right now with titles on their names who actually do not deserve the role because of their character and their behavior. And so leadership is about behavior. How do you behave? How do you carry yourself? Do you have dignity and pride? Do people respect you? Because respect is something that is earned. It cannot be taken. You have to earn it. And you earn that through integrity. You earn that through respect. You earn that through authenticity. And you earn that through just being a person of passion and compassion, and understanding that we are human beings and we're following you, and we need you to be able to show us love, kindness, and empathy. So if you desire to be a leader and you have all those characteristics, then you are at the right place doing the right thing, and you're at the Dr. Carolyn Show. And so thank you again for joining us, all of our guests, and thank you to our viewing audience. Have an awesome evening, and you are phenomenal. You're awesome. And because you joined us today, I have a special, awesome surprise for you, and you'll see down in the feed. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great evening.